Hey guys, so for my final project, I decided to construct a security vulnerability report utilizing Java, Selenium, Owasp ZAP, and other tools as well. So first things first, I want to provide a description of what exactly this project entails. Then from there, I want to proceed with the tech stack and talk about what software was used to create this project. And then finally, I want to provide you with a demonstration of how this security vulnerability report is going to be constructed. So, the objective of this project is to create a security vulnerability report utilizing Java, Selenium, Owasp ZAP, along with other tools as well. The purpose of a security vulnerability report is to determine how susceptible an application is of being exploited. This security vulnerability report will test two different web interfaces. The first interface that we're going to test is going to be an open source application called SonarQube, which is used as a debugging tool in software development. The next interface we're going to be testing is the homepage of Sonoma State. And the reason why I chose to test these two interfaces is because Selenium has the capability of simultaneously testing multiple applications at once. And so I figured it would be the perfect opportunity to illustrate that by testing both of these interfaces. So as far as the tech stack goes, the programming language that I decided to use is Java. And the reason why I decided to use Java is because it contains a lot of different libraries and utilities that are compatible with automation testing as well as cybersecurity. Then from there, we're going to be using Selenium, which is an open source automation testing tool which allows you to perform automation tests. Okay, just in case you don't know what that is, that's totally cool. I actually have prepared a small demonstration which will show you exactly how Selenium operates. Okay. But yeah, basically what Selenium does is it automatically will conduct tests for you without you having to do anything. Then from there, we're going to be utilizing SonarQube, okay? And SonarQube is an open source application used to detect bugs and deliver organized code. This is typically used by software developers as a quality assurance tool before launching the final product into production. From there, we're going to be using Maven, which is an open source build tool which contains libraries from a remote server. So basically, when utilizing a Java project, normally in order to access a library, you would have to use a jar file, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. The only problem with jar files, though, is that they can only be accessed through your local machine. So if for some reason somebody needs to access your program through another machine, if they don't have those proper libraries, they're not going to be able to run the program. And this is where Maven comes into play. Basically what Maven does, and please correct me if I'm wrong because it did take me some time to understand the concept of Maven. But basically what Maven does is it allows you to have to access those libraries from a remote repository. Okay? So rather than accessing the libraries from your local machine, it allows you to access the libraries from a remote server or a remote repository. So anybody basically can universally access those libraries. In a way, I guess you could say it's kind of like Docker in that, you know, it kind of it sort of resolves the compatibility issue. But you know, with Maven, it's strictly for libraries and files. Oh, whoops, we're not quite there yet. Then the next tool that we're going to be using is Owasp ZAP. And Owasp ZAP is an open source tool used to conduct security tests. And it's often used by cybersecurity engineers when performing penetration tests. So basically, Owasp ZAP is the tool that allows us to conduct the vulnerability report. Okay? Without Owasp ZAP, we wouldn't be able to determine the vulnerability of an application. All right. So what Owasp ZAP is going to do is it's going to analyze the components of each application to determine how vulnerable they are. Okay, or to determine how susceptible they are. So yeah, that's that basically covers the tech stack. Let's from here on out, let me provide you with a demonstration of how this is going to work, okay? Let me make sure I'm doing this properly. Okay, so as you can see right here, what I did was I created a separate Selenium project, okay? This has nothing to do with the security vulnerability report, but just in case you are unfamiliar with Selenium, which there's a chance nobody is, but just in case you are, I wanted to kind of show you how Selenium works, just so you'll have an idea of how it operates, okay? So what I did here was I created a program which will allow me to automatically log into my MLB account using my credentials, all right? By the way, you're more than welcome to use my account if you want. So yeah, if the password is still there, go for it. So okay, so basically what's gonna happen is once I compile this program, it's gonna automatically input my credentials and log in for me, or log into my account. So let's take a look. Perfect. So as you can see, what it did was it automatically opened up the web page and logged in without me having to do anything. And then once it logged in, it automatically closed the browser. So in a nutshell, that's basically how Selenium works. It definitely gets a lot more advanced than that, but that's kind of in a nutshell. That's basically how it works. So now that we've kind of explored how Selenium works, let's set up the security vulnerability report. So I'm going to close this. All right. And then basically what I did was I have this on a virtual machine. All right. So we're going to log in. Okay. Then what we're going to do, there's a few things we have to do. First things first, because we're using SonarQube, or let me open the project. Okay, so this right here is the project. Now, I know there's a lot going on, so I'm going to give you a brief explanation of how it's going to work, okay? Basically, we have multiple tests running at once. So we have a before method, okay? The before method, what the before method does is it kind of is sort of the precursor to each individual test, all right? Then we have each individual test. So one of the tests is specifically for the SonarQube vulnerability report, okay? So this is going to be the vulnerability report that focuses on SonarQube, okay? And then we have another test. This is going to be the test that strictly focuses on Sonoma State, okay? So this method, or this test right here, is strictly for the Sonoma State vulnerability report, all right? And then from here, we have an after method, all right? And this is sort of what this method is this method is used after each test is implemented. So this kind of finalizes the process. So let's go over the cycle real quick, just so you'll kind of have an idea of what's going on. So when I compile this program, what's going to happen is we're going to immediately implement the before method, okay? And what this does is this basically sets up the settings and utilities used to implement our API, and also used to implement our driver as well, which is part of the API, okay? So when we initially compile this program, the first method that's going to be implemented is setup, okay? And the reason why is because this is part of the before method. Once this method is successfully implemented, then we're going to proceed to the first test method, all right? What's the first test method? This is going to be the SonarQube vulnerability report, all right? So this is the method used to basically implement the SonarQube vulnerability report, all right? Now, in the demonstration that I previously showed you, where I automatically log into MLB.com, a lot of the commands that I used in that demonstration are going to be used in this method as well, okay? It's not going to log into MLB.com, but basically, those commands are going to be used within this method, okay? So basically what this method does is it basically is used to access the application, all right? Then from there, once this method is successfully implemented, then we're going to proceed. We're going to skip the second test method, all right? We're going to completely skip this, and we're going to automatically proceed to the after method, all right? And what the after method does is the purpose of the after method is to finalize the process. So what it's going to do is it's going to wait for 20 seconds just so you can see what's going on, and then it's just going to automatically close the browser, all right? So basically that's what's going to happen in the first test. Then what it's going to do is it's going to repeat the cycle again. So it's going to go back to the before method right here, and it's going to re-implement that method once more, all right? So which is basically used to set up all the tools and utilities. This time though, it's not going to be for the SonarQube vulnerability report. It's going to be used for the Sonoma State vulnerability report. So we're going to, once again, we're going to implement this method, and then we're going to proceed to the Sonoma State vulnerability report, all right? Which is right here, all right? So from there, once we get to the Sonoma State vulnerability report, that's when we implement all of these commands. Okay, so we're going to implement this method right here. And then from there, we're going to proceed to the after method once more and implement that method. All right? I know this was a convoluted explanation, but let me just give a really brief summary of what I was talking about. So we're going to, once we compile this code, we're going to implement the before method. Okay, we're going to immediately implement this method. Then we're gonna go to the first test method, which is SonarCube. All right, we're gonna implement this method. Then we're going to proceed to the after method, and we're gonna implement that method. All right, which is used to finalize the process. Then from there, we're going to repeat the cycle once more. So we're going to go back to the before method. We're going to implement that method and then proceed to the second test method, which is used to conduct the Sonoma State Vulnerability Report. So we're going to implement this method, all right? And then once we implement this method, we're going to once again proceed to the after method, implement that, and terminate the code. Or terminate the program. So I know that was a lot of stuff. I do apologize for the convoluted explanation. But let's implement this vulnerability report so you can see how it operates. Okay. So what we're gonna do is first things first. We want to make sure that SonarCube is on. All right. So we're gonna do system CTL start SonarCube. Alright, it's going to prompt me for my credentials. That's fine. Oh, actually, let's do status. Yeah, let's do status. Okay, so according to the terminal, it is running. So we're good to go off that. Now what we're going to do is we need to execute ZAP, all right? So as you can see, we're currently on the ZAP directory. So what we're going to do is we're going to run ZAP, all right? Here we go, all right? Perfect. Okay. So basically, this is the application used to conduct the security test. All right. So what this application is going to do is it's going to analyze all of the components in each application to determine how vulnerable they are. All right. So now that we have this application open, sorry, I'm trying to minimize this window. Sorry, guys. Hold on one second. But yeah, now that we have this application open, let's compile the program. Okay. Whoops. Sorry, guys. I want to make sure this is done properly. Oh my god, this is driving me crazy. Hold on. Okay, guys. So we're going to run it right now, okay? Here we go. Wait, let me unhighlight this. Okay. Here we go. So we're going to run it through testng, all right, which is a library that is used to conduct each test, all right. Without testng, we wouldn't be able to utilize the before method or after method, okay. So that's the purpose of testng. So let's run it and see what happens. Okay, so as you can see, it is opening up SonarCube, all right? It's going to automatically log into SonarCube. All right, there we go. It's going to wait 20 seconds. Don't worry, it will close out. There we go. And as you can see, Owasp ZAP is currently running its configurations. All right. So as the compiler is compiling, Owasp ZAP is analyzing the data. All right, now we have the second test, which is Sonoma State. So the first test was SonarQube, the second test is Sonoma State. All right, and it's going to wait 20 seconds and then close. And as you can see, so basically any exterior website, or anytime we're analyzing an exterior website, it's going to present this message, welcome to the HUD. The reason why I didn't do that for SonarQube is because SonarQube is running through the local host, and Owasp ZAP just doesn't operate that way. Now, why? Unfortunately, I couldn't tell you, but that's just how it operates. So, okay, now that we have successfully compiled this program, let's open up the vulnerability reports. Okay, so what we're gonna do is, I'm hoping this works. We're gonna right click, we're gonna go to refresh. Yeah, there you go. And as you can see, we have access to both vulnerability reports. So let's view SonarQube first. All right. So we're gonna go down. Hold on. Here we go. We're gonna go down, and we're going to go to properties. Okay. And we're gonna go up. I should. Oh yeah. No, never mind. Sorry, I thought this. Hold on 1 second. Here we go, guys. Sorry about that. Okay, so let's open up the browser. This might take a second. Okay. As you can see, we do currently have a vulnerability report specifically for, hold on, trying to figure out what this is. Should be for SonarQube. That's what's a little bit weird about it. I think what happened was the caches might have gotten mixed up, so we might have to do it over again. I do apologize for that. This is kind of the only downside to using it, that sometimes the caches. Oh, never mind. Okay, so as you can see, this is our SonarQube vulnerability report. All right, and it's pretty cool because basically, if you scroll down, it'll provide you a in-depth description of each component and what its potential vulnerabilities are. So as you can see, this is basically the vulnerabilities for SonarQube. I'll read one of them. HTTP Strict Transport Security, HSTS, is a web security policy mechanism where a web server declares that complying user agents, such as a web browser, are to interact with its using only secure HTTPS connections. HSTS, also known as HTTP Strict Transport Security, is an IETF standards track protocol and is specified in RFC $67.97. Okay, so as you can see, this is a pretty unurgent concern, but nevertheless, it does give you a description of each detail, which is pretty cool. So now let's view the Sonoma State one real quick. Sorry, I know we're way past time, but I think it's important to go over this. Hold on real quick. All right, here we go. Now for Sonoma State. All right, so we're going to go back to the browser. We're going to open another tab. Here we go. All right, so as you can see with Sonoma State, there's a lot more detail revolving around that. And I think the reason why is because it's just a much it's just a much larger interface, there's a lot more traffic and a lot more components as well. So I think that's the reason why. So let's just read one of them, and then I'll just kind of scroll down slowly. So if you guys are kind of curious, you could stop the video and just read for yourself. I would read it all, but unfortunately we just don't have time. So I'll read one and then I'll slowly scroll down so you can pause the video and watch it. So one of them, which has a medium concern, is absence of anti-CSRF tokens. No anti-CSRF tokens were found in a HTML submission form. A cross-site request forgery is an attack that involves forcing a victim to send a HTTP request to a target destination without their known knowledge or intent in order to perform an action as the victim. Yeah, you're probably going to get really bored once I read the whole thing. So let me just scroll down slowly, just so that way you guys will have a chance to kind of see it. So I'm going to start from beginning and go to the end. Hold on. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to scroll really slow, okay, guys? Here we go. All right, and like I said, anytime you come across something that that looks interesting, feel free to just pause the video and check it out. But yeah, it's really cool. I remember in the beginning of class, Dr. Gondry had mentioned that cybersecurity was gorgeous, and when he originally said that, I it's not that I disagreed, but I just couldn't really understand why he felt that way. But after doing this report, I completely understand why he said that, because it is gorgeous. I think that with cybersecurity, the possibilities of creations and discoveries and revolutionizations are infinite. And so, I think pursuing a career in cybersecurity would definitely be a beautiful experience, at least in my opinion. So anyway, sorry for all this talking, guys. I just there's just like there's so much. When I did this project, I learned a lot, and there's just so many concepts that that are available for you to learn. And so it's just it was just a really, really cool experience for me. All right, as you can see, we're almost done. Also, like, if you ever want me to, I don't know, if you ever want to explore this material with me, you can always contact me, and I can definitely show you more, because I think it would be a cool experience. Okay, all right, we're done. All right, you're probably thinking to yourself, thank God. But that's okay. I know it was a really long video. So anyway, let me go back to the slide. All right, guys. So yeah, that's basically it. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you taking the time to listen to my report. Again, I do apologize for the long explanation. If you chose to skip this video, I don't blame you, because I'd probably do the same thing. But yeah, if you have any questions, concerns, critiques, anything, feel free to reach out to me. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you.